Good evening. You're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Wynna Wong. Here's a look at tonight's top stories. Commuters will have to pay up to 14% more for a taxi trip in July after the government approves the first fare hike in 5 years. Carrie Lam says she's inclined to further ease social distancing measures before Hong Kong's 25th handover anniversary. And the son of former dictator Ferdinand Marcos is set to become president of the Philippines. For the first time in 5 years, the government has approved a fare hike application by the taxi trade. Commuters are expected to pay up to 14% more for a ride, but the industry says it can barely cover surging costs. Chloe Feng reports.
For the first time since April 2017, commuters will have to fork out more when they wave down a taxi. After ignoring repeated pleas for a fare hike, the Executive Council finally gave the green light to bump up fares from July the 17th. Under the proposal, the flag fall will go up by $3 for each journey. That means a minimum charge of $27 for urban taxis, $23.50 for green cabs in the new territories, and $22 for blue taxis running exclusively on Lanka. The incremental charges will also go up by 20 cents per 200-meter jump in the first phase, and 10 cents after a certain distance depending on the type of taxi. The approved increment was far lower than what the industry had demanded, a flag fall increase of $6 to $7, as well as other surcharges. The government explained that the revision must be set at a level that the public can accept. Some representatives expressed disappointment regarding the proposal, with these taxi drivers saying that they're struggling to operate in face of surging fuel and maintenance costs, as well as pricier insurance policies. Officials estimated about 46,000 active taxi drivers will see their income go up by 11 to 14%. The proposal will be tabled to the Legislative Council for vetting later this month. Chloe Feng, HKIBC.
The chief executive said she's inclined to further ease social distancing measures ahead of the city's 25th handover anniversary, but would not provide a concrete timetable. Carrie Lam added more than 40,000 employers who signed up for a wage relief program should receive their subsidies very soon. Mizi Mok reports.
With just 52 days to go before her term expires, Carrie Lam vowed to soldier on in her COVID fights as well as rebuild the economy. The chief executive brought good news to those who applied for the employment support scheme. She said the first batch of 45,000 employers will be notified today of their successful applications. A total of 140,000 employers signed up for the scheme, which will subsidize up to $8,000 of monthly wages for about 1.2 million workers between May and July. Another 100,000 self-employed applicants will receive a one-off grant of $8,000. To speed up Hong Kong's return to normality, the government rolled back some of the social distancing measures last Thursday, 2 weeks ahead of schedule. Lam noted the positive feedback from society, but would not give a definitive answer when asked if the third phase of reopening next month can be fast-tracked as well. But she was inclined to further ease the rules so that the public can celebrate the 25th anniversary of the city's return to China.
Hong Kong still has to strictly adhere to a strategy to try to reduce the importation of cases, but at the same time also need to have some sort of social distancing measures to prevent a rebound. And these measures exactly were to create the necessary preconditions for resuming quarantine-free travel into the mainland.
Lam said her government and the next led by John Lee will remain in close contact with mainland authorities and discuss if COVID-0 is still needed to resume quarantine-free travel. Maisie Mock, HKIBC.
Authorities insist there is no need for a restaurant at the center of a COVID outbreak to suspend operation. That's after 8 more customers of Peony Golden Court in Yuen Long tested positive for the virus, taking the cluster to 20. The Center for Health Protection said the venue has been thoroughly cleansed, while staff and customers have been tested. Officials are still trying to reach 6 customers who visited the restaurant on the morning of May 1st. This came as the city saw another 273 infections, up from 233 yesterday, a 3-month low. 27 of the infections were imported, while there were 5 COVID-related deaths. The coroner's court has ruled that 2 firefighters who worked in Ngau Tau Kok 6 years ago died by misadventure. The ruling concludes an 8-month inquest into the mini-storage fire of 2016.
It was a fire that rocked Hong Kong back in 2016. Shocking for the amount of time it took to extinguish the flames, but also because 2 firefighters died in their attempts to put it out. 6 years later today, the coroner's court has decided they both died by misadventure. Deputy Coroner Philip Wong noted that on June 21st between 7 and 8 p.m., Senior Station Officer Thomas Chung was one of those sent into the 3rd floor of the Amoy Can Industrial Center to fight the No. 3 alarm fire. He sustained extensive burns and suffered from smoke inhalation. He died heroically later that day. 2 days later, at around 6:30 in the evening, Samuel Hui and his squad entered the building after the flames were escalated to a No. 4 alarm fire. The senior fireman helped a struggling colleague break down a door, but later mistook the entrance of a warehouse as an exit. He eventually collapsed from heat stroke and passed away the same day. Wong said the pair had both died from unexpected circumstances. His ruling comes after an 8-month inquest into how 30-year-old Chung and 37-year-old Hui lost their lives. During the hearing, British expert Richard Hager criticized the Fire Services Department of being too self-satisfied and accused those in charge of the operation of using poor tactics. Authorities believe the fire was started by a malfunctioning air conditioner, which set a self-storage facility ablaze. It took firefighters 108 hours, almost 5 days, to fully extinguish the flames. They later described it as one of the most difficult fires they've had to put out, since the storage facility was filled with different objects and split into hundreds of small spaces.
Overseas now, more than 3 decades after his father was ousted from power, Ferdinand Marcos Jr. is set to become president of the Philippines in a landslide victory. Sarah Wong reports.
Scores of protesters stormed the Elections Commission office in Manila to voice their opposition against Ferdinand Marcos Jr. The crowd chanted anti-Marcos slogans as the son and namesake of the former authoritarian leader is a heartbeat away from the presidency. But the protests failed to dampen the spirit of Marcos Jr. supporters who took to the streets to celebrate an apparent landslide victory. Preliminary results show that the former senator, who's known by his childhood nickname Bon Bon, won more than 30 million votes. That's almost twice the ballots garnered by Rodrigo Duterte in 2016, who was seen as one of the most popular Philippine presidents in history.
We're very happy. Now that Bongbong Marcos will be our president, we believe that our nation will be great again.
Alam kong hindi madaling tanggapin sa inyo.
Touted as Marcos Jr.'s closest rival, Vice President Leni Robredo only managed to get around 14 million votes. She urged her supporters not to give up on democratic and human rights reforms in the wake of an imminent defeat. Trailing Robredo is boxing legend Manny Pacquiao, who mustered around 3 million votes. In a separate contest, the vice presidency is poised to fall into the hands of another political dynasty. Sara Duterte Carpio, the daughter of the outgoing president and Davao City mayor, dominated the race with over 31 million votes. If their victories are confirmed, Marcos Jr. and Duterte Carpio will take office on June 30th. The incoming administration will be tasked with reviving the COVID-battered economy and mending the rift in society. Activists urged the new government to do more on the human rights front after 6 years of controversial policies under Duterte's reign. Sarah Wong, HKIBC.
A curfew has been extended in Sri Lanka as there are signs of escalating violence amid widening social divisions. The resignation of Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa did little to quell the violence. Here's Sarah Wong again.
Tensions boiled over in Sri Lanka as months of anti-government protests are turning increasingly violent. Outside the president's office in Colombo, government supporters mobbed opposition leader Sajith Premadasa as he tried to leave the area. He was escorted onto his car, which drove away while knocking down a few people. But this was a rare scene, as those against the government far outnumbered their rivals. Thousands of heavily armed soldiers were deployed to Colombo to quell the violence. Clashes across the capital over the past days have killed several people and injured more than 200. The chaos have prompted Mahinda Rajapaksa, the elder brother of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, to step down as prime minister. But his resignation failed to appease the protesters, who breached his official residence later. Mahinda and his family have been evacuated to an undisclosed location. Anti-government radicals also set fire to properties belonging to the Rajapaksas, as well as those who supported them. That's after government supporters attacked rival protesters camped outside the Rajapaksas' offices, injuring at least 20 people. Prices of essential items have skyrocketed in recent months after the country ran out of foreign reserves to pay for imports, while its own currency, the rupee, is in free fall. Colombo is seeking a bailout package from the International Monetary Fund and asked allies China and India for help. Sarah Wong, HKIBC.
South Korea's new president Yoon Suk-yeol promised to tackle his nation's economic woes and take a tougher stance against North Korea as he officially took office. Yoon's inauguration ceremony took place in Seoul today. In a speech, the conservative political newcomer vowed to engage in negotiations with the country's northern neighbor amid nuclear threats from Pyongyang. He also said he would spur economic growth to heal deep divide within society. Yoon has decided to abandon the Blue House to set up office in a defense ministry complex, a move that has drawn much controversy. Ever imagine what you could do if you have $195 million of spare cash? An anonymous art collector splurged it on an iconic Marilyn Monroe portrait by Andy Warhol. And analysts believe more records will be set in the coming months. Chloe Fong tells us more.
At 120 million, 160 million, at $170 million.
The bidding lasted merely 4 minutes.
All done. Last chance, fair warning. Here it is then, the gentleman's bid, ladies and gentlemen, at 170 million for the Warhol is selling here to you, sir, at $170 million.
With the strike of the gavel, an iconic piece by Andy Warhol switched hands for a whopping $195 million, including fees. That made Shot Sage Blue Marilyn the most expensive artwork by an American artist. Produced in 1964, the silk screen portrait of actress Marilyn Monroe is known for its vibrant colors and glamorous subject matter. It also eclipsed the $179.4 million record for 20th century art set by Pablo Picasso's 1955 painting.
We did sell the most expensive painting of the 20th century. This is a big achievement. That is not on me, but just on Warhol and Marilyn. Let it sink in. It's quite something.
While the hammer price paid by an unidentified buyer did not reach the pre-sale estimates of $200 million, it was nearly double the second most expensive piece by Warhol, Silver Car Crash, sold in 2013.
That was the directional price. We got to 195. I think that's okay. I believe it's worth anything that somebody pays.
Yeah, but who could pretend it's not a good price? It is.
It's an amazing price.
Proceeds of the sale will go to a foundation run by the estate of its late Swiss owners, Thomas and Doris Ammon. At least 1/5 of the money will go directly to a charity. Analysts believe the sale will kick off a strong spring auction season after COVID has created pent-up demand for potential clients. Chloe Fong, HKIBC.
Look at the markets now. The Hang Seng Index closed down 368 points. In top 10 active stocks, the Tencent was down $8, Meituan down $5.20. Tracker Fund down 42 cents, BYD Company down $13.60. In foreign exchange rates, it's 8.28 to the euro and 9.68 to the British pound. In UK markets, the UK FTSE is up 46 points. And that's our main news for Tuesday night. Join us for more at 11. I'm Wynna Wong. Thanks for watching. Good night.